Do your PowerPoints to coins ratio look something like this? Is the coin shortage real? How many coins can free-to-play players actually get in a year, and what can you do to maximize those coins? Chances are if you clicked on this video, you're unhappy about how the Brawl Stars developers are handling what's been dubbed the coin shortage, where players feel like they don't get enough coins to upgrade their account at a satisfactory rate. Now, whether this comes in the form of having too many PowerPoints compared to coins, or just feeling like you're not getting enough coins to keep up with all the newly released content that requires them, there seems to be a growing dissatisfaction within the Brawl Stars community with how the developers have handled their in-game economy. And this isn't a new issue. Players have been talking about the lack of coins for over a year now, ever since the release of hypercharges. But don't worry, it seems like the developers are thinking of a potential fix. Here's what the developers had to say about a possible solution for the issue in their most recent episode of their Time to Explain podcast.
Have you ever considered making progression PowerPoint based? And then he mentions the lack of gold. Yeah, so I guess he's proposing like if you only use PowerPoints to upgrade brawlers and then everything else is coins.
We considered it at some point, I think. We discussed it, but I don't think there's any conclusion to it.
Oh wait, hold on, my bad. This was from their episode filmed in October of last year. My mistake. Here's what they had to say in their actual most recent episode.
The community has asked for so long to find solution with coins compared to PowerPoints. Coins is in big shortage. Maybe some kind of conversion could be possible to at least reducing the prices of hypercharge. So like I prepare years for this question.
Yes.
What I think that there is a problem is because we are not like giving less coins. Like we are giving more coins in general, like raw coins actually, on top of like the random rewards, that's like gadgets, star drops, hypercharging, gacha. But you can see that even like the baseline is already increased when you change the Brawl Pass. We have here the average daily income, so like that's every day. And then you can see how like the baseline is very high and it's still climbing up, which makes Jeff on our side to get desperate. Like, oh my God, they're getting too many coins.
Okay, so it turns out players have been getting more coins than ever before. So the economy is fine, in fact, too good for the players, and there's no shortage then. Great. Yet another case of the greedy mobile game players who just couldn't spend their resources responsibly, trying to extort poor Supercell for more coins and prevent them from becoming the next Black Myth Wukong. Well, hold on, you might be thinking. Sure, players are getting more coins than ever before, but that's irrelevant to the issue. It's not about spending responsibly. Players need to spend coins on brawlers to max them out and be competitive, especially ever since Supercell decided to increase the stat gap between different levels of brawlers. Not only that, but with all the broken brawlers that are being released into the game, if you don't max out the newly broken brawler as they're out to abuse them, then you're inherently just at a disadvantage to the players that do. And brawlers themselves cost more to upgrade than ever before with the high coin costs of gears and hypercharges, which are essentially mandatory upgrades. So what if we're getting 80% more coins than before if the cost to upgrade a brawler to be playable in high ladder or ranked requires 100% more coins? I mean, this is a game where having maxed out brawlers in a diverse brawler pool only help you for drafting and ranked, right? Plus, if a player can't even max out one brawler per season, but Supercell releases one new brawler each season, then new players would just never be able to catch up to older players without wailing, and that feels unfair. Okay, but on some level, the developers need to be able to monetize their game, right? I mean, you can't just expect that free-to-play players can just max out all the brawlers for free instantly. They would need to be able to make money. But not just enough to run the servers. They need to make enough money, more money, in order to fund the continuous development and growth of the game to keep it fresh and exciting and have new players coming in. The more profitable the game is, the more money will be reinvested into the salaries of new employees of the dev team to make content that everyone can enjoy. Yeah, but still, that doesn't change the fact that being so strapped for resources just feels bad to play. And the developers aren't even being honest about it too. Like, of course they know that free-to-play players are struggling with resources. I mean, they have all this data, so surely they know on some level. But they're just trying to gaslight the community into thinking that things are better than ever and we have no reason to complain. Isn't this just another case of greedy cell trying to brush the issue under the rug because they want to force players to spend money and turn this game into another Clash Royale? Showing me coin graphs from the fact that my PowerPoints to coin ratio looks like this, while the PowerPoints to coins ratio I need to max out brawlers is more like this, it just feels slimy. Wait, pause. What's actually the issue being discussed here? So, on one side, players don't have enough resources to upgrade their account at a satisfactory pace. Okay. On the other side, oh well, players don't have those resources because developers need to be able to monetize the game. Okay. But aren't we forgetting to check something here? How many resources do players actually get, and how does that compare to how many resources they actually need in order to keep pace with all the new content and unlock and upgrade all the old content? I mean, before we talk about why players aren't getting enough resources at all, shouldn't we first find out if players actually aren't getting enough resources? Alright, so to figure this out, we need to calculate how many resources it takes to unlock and upgrade the newly released content, but since brawlers of different rarities are released each month and the Brawl Stars progression system is somewhat inherently variable with all the community events they do, let's measure the resources players received over the past year since the start of the coin issue being on the developer's radar, and compare that to how many resources it would take to unlock and max out all the newly released brawlers in that year. This way, if players received less resources in the past year than what's necessary to keep up with the new content that's been released, or even just barely enough, then we can say that players probably aren't getting enough resources. On the other hand, if players received more than enough resources in the past year than what's necessary to keep up with the new content that's been released, then we can say that the lack of resources isn't the real issue, even if it feels like it. Now, since players who play the game more actively get more resources than players who don't, obviously, we're going to be basing our numbers on a player who plays actively. Sure, if you play pretty infrequently, you won't be able to get that many resources, but we want to see the limits of what's doable, within reason of course, and I'll explain what I mean by that when we're actually doing the calculations. Also, since paying players will receive substantially more resources than free-to-play players, when judging resource amounts, we'll be going with the completely free-to-play player as the base of our comparisons. But keep in mind that even though free-to-play players are the focus of discussion a lot of the time, in a recent poll I did, they don't even make up a third of the players who filled out that poll. The majority of players have spent some money on this game in the form of either the Brawl Pass or some shop offers. Regardless though, we can still use the free-to-play player as a nice metric to kind of even out the fewer resources you get from inactive playing with the extra resources you would get if you spent the money. And I'll also include calculations for base Brawl Pass and Brawl Pass Plus buyers too. So with that out of the way, let's finally dive into the numbers of the game for the past year to determine definitively whether Brawl Stars actually has a coin shortage. Feel free to leave a comment at this point guessing if you think free-to-play players can or can't keep up with maxing out all the new brawlers released in the past year. And if you guess correctly, Danny from Supercell himself will come down and bless you with 1,000 years of good coin luck. Let's jump into it. Now, at the time of me making this video, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Chuck's release date. Since then, the brawlers that have been released in order have been Charlie, Miko, Kit, Larry and Laurie, Angelo, Melody, Lily, Draco, Clancy, Mo, and most recently, Kenji. Including Chuck, that's 2 epic brawlers, 7 mythic brawlers, and 3 legendary brawlers, making for 12 brawlers released in a year, or 1 brawler per month, which sounds about right. The credits to unlock these brawlers are 925 for an epic, 1900 for a mythic, and 3800 credits for a legendary brawler, which totals to 26,550 credits needed to unlock all the brawlers in the past year. To upgrade every brawler that's released to power 11, each brawler costs 3,740 power points, which going forward will be abbreviated as PP for short, and 7,765 coins, but each brawler also potentially needs a gadget, star power, 2 gears, and a hypercharge, which can total to like an additional 10,000 coins if you buy them outright, making the total cost to max out each brawler 3,740 power points and 17,765 coins. Multiply that by 12 for the past year and you get 44,880 PP and 213,180 coins to just keep up with the new brawler releases. Now at this point, I do want to say that I am aware that not every brawler released has access to a hypercharge. In fact, of the new brawlers released last year, only 1 brawler, Angelo, has a hypercharge at all. The reason why I'm still going to include it in the brawler cost is because for this video, we'll be under the presumption that every brawler has their hypercharge available to purchase with their release. Because 1, eventually in the future things will get to that point, but 2, this way we avoid double counting hypercharge costs by needing to include the batches of 6 hypercharges released with each update cycle. I've noticed some players saying that, oh, you need to include 30,000 coins to buy all the hypercharges each update as a cost, while also saying that the cost to max out a brawler including buying their hypercharge is 17,765 coins. Well, hold on, because if you include the cost to buy the 30,000 coins worth of hypercharges on their release, then you should decrease the cost to max out those brawlers accordingly, otherwise you're double counting hypercharge costs. To avoid doing that and make life easier for me, we're just going to add in the hypercharge cost to the cost to max out each brawler and go from there. Anyways, looking at the cost per year to max out the newly released brawlers, at this point some of you are probably already thinking, hey wait a minute, the current free pass only gives 2,500 power points, 7,000 coins, and 1,000 credits, and since each pass only lasts a month, that's only 30,000 power points, 84,000 coins, and 12,000 credits a year. Let alone the upgrade cost, that's not even half the amount of credits needed to unlock the brawlers to begin with. Free-to-play players are screwed, they're screwed. Well, hold on, because it's actually a little more complicated than that in 3 big ways. One is that starting in January of this year, Season 22, Brawl Passes were reworked from being 2 months long to only 1 month long, and the old bonus rewards were replaced with star drops, which means that potential resource gains were slightly different back then, although the difference isn't that much. The second thing is that back when Charlie was released, she was released as something called a chromatic brawler, which was a unique rarity tier for brawlers that were released specifically as a reward in the Brawl Pass, and required a legacy currency called chroma credits to unlock after the Brawl Pass season ended. When they removed the chromatic rarity and chroma credits, they did a huge chroma shower event where players could earn a bunch of chroma credits to unlock brawlers before they were reorganized into their current day rarities. Back then, chromatic brawlers like Pearl and Surge were worth the same amount of credits, despite today Surge being worth more than 4 times as many credits to unlock. On top of that, any unspent chroma credits after they were removed will be converted into credits at a 1 to 1.85 ratio. This means that overall, players who grinded during that event probably received a metric shit ton of credit equivalents in Brawlers Unlocked, which is way beyond the amount of credits that someone who started playing the game just after the event ended would be able to receive. And calculating how many credits a player at that time could get is also kind of a headache. So for this video, we'll be focusing specifically on the current day Brawl Pass rewards and extrapolate those out into the past year, even though for like 3 of those months the Brawl Pass rewards were technically slightly different. Ultimately, for the purposes of this video though, the differences in the old and new passes don't actually matter that much, and that's in part tied to this third reason why free-to-play players aren't as fucked as they seem, which is that the Brawl Pass doesn't even provide half of the resources free-to-play players can get when playing this game. I'm serious, I've noticed a lot of players both in my poll and in online discussions trick themselves into thinking that progression in this game is a lot worse than it actually is because they focus purely on the Brawl Pass when comparing resource gains. Let's focus just on the credits for a moment. So you need 26,550 credits to unlock all the brawlers released in the past year. The free-to-play pass gives 12,000 credits a year. The base Brawl Pass itself gives an additional 2,000 credits, so if you buy the Brawl Pass every month, that's an additional 24,000 credits a year or 36,000 credits total. So already Brawl Pass purchasers have more than enough credits to cover the new content that's released each year, okay. The Brawl Pass Plus doesn't give any additional credits, so they're in the same boat as the base Brawl Pass purchasers. Now let's take a look at Star Drops. People generally tend to imply that Star Drop rewards are negligible when talking about the game, but they are a significant chunk of this game's progression and can't be ignored. Although my guess is that they're usually ignored mostly because nobody wants to go through and do the actual math to figure out what the value of each Star Drop is, even though all the data is on Supercell's web. Oh wait, except this guy. Oh yeah, it looks like he did the math. Shoutouts Shou Ming. If you want to see his math breakdown, you can check out his video on this topic. So anyways, armed with the average expected resources from each Star Drop, let's count up the amount of Star Drops you can get in 1 year. From the Brawl Pass alone, you get 24 Star Drops a month and 1 additional Legendary drop at the end, so in a year, that's 288 Star Drops and 12 Legendary Star Drops just from completing the free pass. But wait a minute, that's not all. Every day if you complete your daily win bar, you'll get up to 3 Star Drops a day. Oh, wow, that was a good one. If you expand that out into 365 days a year, ignoring leap years, that's 1,095 Star Drops a year. Add those up with the Brawl Pass Star Drops and you'll get 1,383 Star Drops a year, plus the 12 Legendary drops mentioned before. Now, since the Star Drops themselves can give you a Brawler straight up, if you already have all the Brawlers unlocked for a rarity and you pull that rarity from a Star Drop, you'll receive a fallback reward which is set to these values. And since we're working with larger numbers, I was able to get the exact decimals from him as well, shoutouts Shou Ming. Now, ignoring players who still haven't unlocked all the rares and super rare Brawlers because they don't matter, you'll have different average expected credit equivalents for each Star Drop you open based on whether you have all the Brawlers unlocked, are missing a Legendary, are missing Mythics and Legendaries, or are missing Epics, Mythics, and Legendary Brawlers. Because of this, from regular Star Drops, your expected range of credits you'll receive in a year will be somewhere between 11,755 credits to 17,439 credits from regular Star Drops, and 2,293 credits to 3,434 credits from Legendary Drops, totaling to 26,048 credits if you're missing only Legendary Brawlers, and 32,873 credit equivalents if you're missing all the way down to Epic Brawlers, per year for free-to-play players. And for players who buy the Brawl Pass, keep in mind the Plus version has no difference in the credits you get. The credit range is between 50,048 and 56,873 credits per year. And this is just based on your expected yearly credit income if you collect all 3 daily Star Drops a day and complete the Brawl Pass each season. As a reminder, the amount to unlock everything in the past year was 26,550 credits. So then, looking at this, it seems like free-to-play players missing only a Legendary Brawler will be just barely shy of being able to unlock all the new stuff, if you only look at these 3 income sources. Because the truth is that we still haven't included Mega Pig, which also gives 20 Star Drops for a max pig and runs once a month, adding another 240 Star Drops a year, or 2,000 to 3,000 credits a year, nor does it include bonus Star Drops players can get at the end of the season, which can amount to at least an additional 15 a month for free-to-play players if you really grind, so you can add in another potential 1,500 to 2,200 credits a year. And by the way, this number can almost triple if you have the Brawl Pass with the higher XP bar cap and extra daily and season quests. These credit estimates also don't include special events like the 100 Star Drop giveaway, the 5 Legendary Star Drop giveaway, the Godzilla event, the Megabox vs 60 Star Drop event, the Krusty Cash event, the Classic Brawl event, which all gave players some way of getting free credits. Nor does it include ranked star drops, trophy road rewards, brawler mastery rewards, which you'll also be unlocking as you play the game, nor does it take into account that this past year had a higher than usual amount of legendary brawlers released, with lead Supercell dev Frank saying on Twitter that they plan on releasing only 1 to 2 legendary brawlers per year going forward. Also, we got Miko for free, which I forgot about until just now while editing, so I guess you can take like 1,900 credits off that too. Okay, so given all this, we've established that players should be able to at least unlock all the brawlers in the game at a somewhat steady pace that beats out new brawler releases if they play actively every day. Great. But I'm sure a lot of you already knew that you can get more brawlers unlocked in this game than you can upgrade. So how many brawlers can you expect to upgrade per year? Figuring out PowerPoint equivalents from star drops is fine, but the coins equivalents from star drops is where things get a little tricky, because star drops do drop gadgets and star powers in them, but I feel like it's somewhat unfair to include star drops and gadget coin equivalents in your calculation like how Xiaoming does in this video. I mean, let's face it, a lot of the times, the gadget or star power you get from a fart drop isn't even the one you need, and waiting to get that star power or gadget on a brawler from a star drop doesn't really feel that great considering these are more or less necessary upgrades on your brawler to be competitive. I mean, some brawlers literally are only viable because of a specific gadget or a specific star power in their kit. Not only that, but apparently you'll only get a 1,000 coins fallback reward if you already have all the gadgets and star powers unlocked. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to try ignoring both the star power and gadget coin value and the fallback reward value from the average star drop coin equivalents for our calculations. This means that in our star drop calculations, we're assuming that you don't have all the star powers and gadgets unlocked yet, so you don't get fallback rewards, and when you do get star powers and gadgets from a star drop, they're the ones you'd never use, meaning these pulls are the equivalent of pulling nothing, straight up air, the most pessimistic case. But we'll also do the calculation assuming you don't buy a star power gadget because you pulled one that you would actually use from a star drop, saving you 2,000 and 1,000 coins and allowing us to add in that value into the star drop, as a kind of mathematical test to see how much further you can squeeze coin savings this way. We'll call this one the optimistic case. That being said, for hypercharges, since there's only one hypercharge option per brawler and they're pretty much all desirable, we're going to leave in the hypercharge coin values for the star drop coin calculations and assume you don't get a hypercharge fallback reward, which is only 1,000 coins, because most people don't have all the hyperchargers anyways. Given these constraints, the average coin equivalent of a star drop is 66.12 coins, including coin equivalents of gadgets, star powers, and hypercharges, but only 47.34 coins per star drop excluding star powers and gadgets. For power points, each star drop is worth on average 13.78 power points. Shout out to Xiaoming. So to calculate the total star drops you can expect in a year, we have the 1,383 regular star drops and 12 legendary star drops from the daily drops, plus the Brawl Pass. We also have the 240 megapig star drops from reaching max megapig each month, totaling the number to 1,623 star drops per year. And so the power points you can expect from these sources are 22,364 power points per year, and the pessimistic coins income you can expect for the year from megapig, Brawl Pass star drops, and daily star drops is 76,832 coins from regular star drops and 9,780 coins from legendaries, totaling to 86,612 coins, of which megapig alone, by the way, makes up 11,361 of these coins. On the other hand, in the optimistic case, the coins income you can expect is 107,312 coins from regular star drops and 16,300 coins from legendaries, totaling 123,613 coins, of which megapig alone makes up 15,868 of these coins. And just as a reminder, to upgrade the 13 new brawler releases each year to max, it costs 48,620 power points and 230,945 coins. Adding together the star drop resources with the Brawl Pass resources, the free-to-play pass gives 30,000 power points and 84,000 coins per year. Combined with these star drop values, that makes 52,364 power points per year and 170,612 coins per year in the pessimistic case, or 207,613 coins per year in the optimistic case. The Brawl Pass gives an additional 2,000 power points and 8,000 coins over the free pass. Combined with the star drops, that makes 74,364 power points per year and 266,612 coins per year in the pessimistic case, or 303,613 coins per year in the optimistic case. The Brawl Pass Plus gives an additional 1,500 power points and 3,000 coins. Combined with the star drops, that makes 94,364 power points per year and 302,612 coins per year in the pessimistic case, or 339,613 coins per year in the optimistic case. Just some interesting things that I want to point out here. Notice the giant jump from free-to-play to just buying the Brawl Pass every month. If it weren't for the star drops, you'd literally more than double your coins, which is crazy. The leap from the Brawl Pass to Brawl Pass Plus isn't as giant, highlighting that the value of the Brawl Pass Plus comes mostly from the cosmetic offerings like the exclusive title and 2 skin color variations, otherwise not really as worth getting if you only care about resources. Another thing to note here is that, as previously mentioned, with the Brawl Pass you get extra XP throughout the season with the higher max limit and the daily quests and season quests. This means that you can potentially get more than triple the bonus star drops that free-to-play players can, and assuming that free-to-play players and Brawl Pass players grind for all their Brawl Pass bonus rewards at the end of each season, free-to-play players can get around an additional 180 drops per year, or an additional 2,480 power points per year and 8,521 coins per year in the pessimistic case, or 11,901 coins per year in the optimistic case. Pass buyers can get around an additional 540 star drops per year, or an additional 7,441 power points per year, and 25,563 coins in the pessimistic case, or 35,704 coins in the optimistic case. All this taken into account, things are looking pretty bad for the free-to-play players right now, even with the bonus star drops, which nobody grinds, and the pessimistic case isn't even close to reaching the coins needed to max out all the new brawlers released in the past year, and the optimistic case still doesn't quite get there either. And this is all despite both cases having more than enough power points to max out all the new brawlers per year. This might be where we start to see the source of that coin shortage sentiment showing its ugly head, right? Extrapolate this pattern out to a couple years of playing and yeah, you might easily have tens of thousands of power points saved up with no coins left over, while not even being able to max out one brawler each season. But hold on, some of you might say. Supercell has been on record saying that their special community events they regularly host are taken into consideration for the balancing of the economy.
We are not like blind. When we remove the Club League and we replace with Mega Pig, we know Club League was giving more coins, right? Community events will make up for the lack of rewards from the Club League to Mega Pig transition.
What if we take into account all the community events they've done in the past year? How does that change things? Okay. On October 3rd, 2023, Brawl Stars did a shooting star drops event giving double drops for 2 weeks. Additionally, they gave some more star drops for doing a certain number of takedowns and legendary star drop at 4 billion takedowns, plus an extra legendary for each additional 1 billion takedowns. This is where my math is going to get a little spotty because I'll be honest, I don't actually remember how many legendaries we got from this. I mean, give me a break, it was a fucking year ago. Also, I don't really want to do the exact math for expected value from epic, mythic, and super rare drops, so let's just say we got 5 regular star drops and 2 legendary drops from this as a general conservative estimate. 14 days of double star drops brings us to an extra 42 star drops for that period and 5 star drops from the takedowns and 2 legendary drops. On December 1st, 2023, Brawl Stars did a Chroma No More event until December 12th, during which there was a double star drops event, a coin shower event at 1 billion takedowns, a token doubler event at 2 billion takedowns, and a legendary star drop at 4 billion takedowns. Again, this is extremely complicated to pull apart because I don't know the exact timeline of when in the event these later bonuses were activated, so let's just say we got at least 12 days of double star drops, plus 36 drops, and 1 legendary drop. Of course, with the token doubler and coin shower events active at the same time, you could potentially get around 400 to 800 coins per day, but I don't know when that activated, so let's just ignore this for our calculations, but these did happen. On January 26, 2024, Brawl Stars did their Brawl Together event where they gave double XP, double star drops at 4 billion takedowns, 2 epic drops and a mythic drop, a coin shower, and a legendary star drop. Let's just call this plus 3 star drops and plus 1 legendary, and you guys can store in your hearts that players got a bunch of coins or something too, I don't know. March 15th, they did their 100 star drops event until March 25th. They gave 1 extra star drop every day during the event, plus double star drops at 300 million rare drops, plus some miscellaneous drops, plus 100 star drops at the end. Again, I don't know when these bonuses went active, but the event went on for 10 days, so that's 10 drops from the daily freebies, plus maybe like 8 days worth of double drops, so like 24 drops, plus the miscellaneous ones will add up to 9 drops, plus 100 at the end, so that makes a total of 143 star drops from this event alone. April 29th, they did their Godzilla event until May 20th, which gave out these things called eggs instead, which were pretty comparable to star drops overall in terms of resources. Again, these are rough estimates, but let's say each player could get like 2 extra drops a day from the daily bar, plus 6 drops from the event mode, which reset every 4 days, and this reset like 6 times, so that's 36 drops plus 44 from the daily bar, which gives 80 drop equivalents in total. June 10th, they did their Thumbs Up community event, which gave out double daily drops for 10 days, plus some amount of double XP and 5 legendary drops at the end, so that's plus 30 star drops and plus 5 legendary drops. July 12th through 31st, they did their classic event, which brought back boxes. I don't know how much a mega box is worth. I was left undelivered by Xiaoming, but we got a bunch of them from this, so yet another one to keep in your fond memories. August 20th through 25th, they did a double star drops event, plus a 10 mega box for 60 star drops event, but halfway through they decided to give us both rewards, so I think we got like 8 mega boxes and 44 star drops, but with the double star drops, that's another 15 drops, so let's just call it 59 star drops, ignoring the mega boxes. Most recently, September 4th, Brawl Stars did their SpongeBob event where you could also buy stuff with Krusty Cash. I don't know how much players got from this on average at all, to be honest, so like with the classic mode, we'll just ignore most of this, but a lot of players could buy a hypercharge or legendary drop with the free cash they got, So let's call it 1 legendary drop, which is a big underestimate, okay? There's also some esports related hypercharge and star drops they gave out throughout the year, but I know not many of you even knew about this or did this, so we're gonna be ignoring these as well. So tallying up the total rough conservative estimate from the community events in the past year, that's 398 star drops and 10 legendary star drops. In the pessimistic case, that's 5,484 power points and 18,841 coins from regular star drops and 8,150 coins from legendaries, totaling 26,991 coins. In the optimistic case, that's still 5,484 power points and 26,315 coins from the legendary drops and 13,584 coins from legendaries, totaling 39,899 coins. Which means that adding up the Brawl Pass, Mega Pig, daily star drops, and the community events, that's 2,021 star drops we are accounting for and 22 legendary drops, which brings us to a grand total of, with the free-to-play pass, if you don't use any of the star drops or gadgets you get from star drops, 57,849 power points and 197,604 coins per year. If you only use the star powers and gadgets you get from the drops, that's 247,513 coins per year. With the Brawl Pass, if you don't use any of the star drops or gadgets you get from star drops, that's 79,849 power points and 293,604 coins per year. If you only use the star powers and gadgets you get from star drops, that's 79,849 power points and 343,513 coins per year. With the Brawl Pass Plus, if you don't use any of the star drops or gadgets you get from drops, that's 99,849 power points and 329,603 coins per year. Or if you only use star drops and gadgets you get from the drops, that's 379,513 coins per year. To max the 13 new brawlers released, it's 48,620 power points and 230,945 coins per year. Alright, so as you can see with the numbers, even though this doesn't take into account bonus star drop awards, no one does those, it still wouldn't matter. In the pessimistic case, we can still definitively say that free-to-play players just aren't getting enough resources. Hold on! Someone says in the background. You're not taking into account bonus star drop awards. Well, yeah, it's like I said, because no one does what about gems from the Brawl Pass? Those can be used to buy hypercharges when they release. Yeah, well, also, what about ranked star drops or brawler mastery rewards? Well, it's hard to estimate where people's brawlers are at. The brawler mastery rewards can also net you a few thousand coins per brawler if you grind their silver 2 masteries, or at least 1,000 coins per brawler if you just get their base bronze 1 mastery. Aren't you leaving out too much? Well, I guess. Okay, fine. If we take into account bonus star drops, Brawl Pass gems used to buy hypercharges, ranked star drops for, let's say, a mythic player, and brawler mastery rewards for, okay, I'll compromise and say bronze 1. Free-to-play players can get, from bonus drops, an additional 180 drops per year, or 2,480 power points and 8,521 coins per year in the pessimistic case, or 11,901 coins in the optimistic case. From Brawl Pass gems, that's 600 gems per year, 79 gems per hypercharge. That's about 7.6 hypercharges, which have 5,000 coins value each, so 37,974 coins per year. From ranked star drops for a mythic player, because I just assume you guys are all mythic. That's 1 epic star drop, 2 mythic star drops, 2 legendary star drops. Let's just group the epic and mythics as just regular star drops. 36 drops per year and 24 legendaries per year. In the pessimistic case, that's 496 power points and 1,704 coins from regular drops and 19,560 coins from legendaries, totaling 21,264 coins. In the optimistic case, 2,380 coins from regular drops, 32,601 coins from legendaries, totaling 34,981 coins. The Brawler Mastery rewards can also net you 1,000 coins per brawler if you just get their base bronze 1 mastery, and if you think about it, that more or less just cuts the cost of upgrading each brawler to max by 1,000 coins each. That's 16,765 coins to max out each brawler, which means 217,945 coins to max the new brawlers per year. So adding it all up for free-to-play players, if you don't use any of the star powers or gadgets you get from the star drops, that's 60,825 power points and 265,364 coins per year. If you only use star drops and gadgets you get from the star drops, that's 332,371 coins per year. For context, if you include in the brawler mastery cost for 13 brawlers, even in the pessimistic case, if you truly grind the game, you will have 47,419 coins per year left over after maxing the 13 new brawlers out, allowing you to max out an additional 2.8 brawlers per year, buying their star powers and gadgets and gears. In the optimistic case, you would have 114,426 coins per year left over, allowing you to max out an additional 6.8 brawlers per year, buying their gears and letting star powers and gadgets come from star drops. And remember, we still aren't including silver brawler masteries, mega boxes, trophy road rewards, and coin shower events. Also, we're basing costs off 13 brawler releases per year instead of 12 because of how the timing lined up for when I made this video. But normally Supercell releases only 1 brawler per month. Now, going back to what we said earlier in this video, look guys, I'm sorry to say this, but looking at the totality of what players have access to that we've covered so far, objectively speaking, it seems like players are getting more than enough resources to keep up with all the new content, maxing all of the new content, and then some. Like, the only demanding part of what we calculated was just a player that has to play every day and collect all the bonus rewards at the end of the season. But even that, the bonus rewards are like a marginal part of that. If you just complete the Brawl Pass, do your Mega Pig, play a little ranked, spend your gems responsibly, that already puts you in a pretty good spot. And again, most of you watching this right now, statistically speaking, have spent money on this game. So your potential resource gains might be even higher than what we've calculated for an active free-to-play player here. But all that being said, I'm not here to tell you that the coin shortage isn't real. I still think it's real. And it doesn't just have to do with spending your coins smart. Hear me out for a second. While it is true that saving your coins on only buying brawler levels and gears and letting star powers and gadgets come from star drops will save you 67,000 coins per year, we just showed that you can still get more than enough coins even without having to resort to that. And let's be honest, it just sucks waiting for a gadget or a star power that might never come. I mean, most of the time, even I would rather spend the coins to just cut that waiting period short. Like, I'm not trying to plan out my spending habits for the long term in a mobile video game when I don't even budget my spending properly in real life. But regardless of whether or not players spend their coins on buying gadgets or star powers, play actively or miss a bunch of days, spend money or are free to play, if you look carefully at the power points to coin ratios from the resources we calculated earlier, almost all of them have a lower ratio than the power points to coins ratio necessary to max out your brawler. This means that in most cases, players will eventually spend all or most of their coins while still having thousands of power points left over, which can't be spent on anything because you can only spend power points if you also have coins. And the thing is, even if a player min-maxed their account and had an excess of coins, right, there still is something to spend those extra coins on. More gears to buy, second gadgets or star powers to get for versatility, and in the process of doing all that, you're only spending coins without spending power points along with them. At the end of the day, most players aren't grinding the fuck out of every single little thing, so their power points to coins ratio won't be enough to afford all of this extravagant coin spending without leaving some power points left over at the end. Let's think about this from a more human perspective. What happens if you don't have the time to play every single day to get all 3 daily star drops? What if you don't complete your daily quests and lose out on your end of season bonuses? Or don't care to grind XP after you've already finished the Brawl Pass? What if you're just new and you don't have enough brawlers to even play ranked to get those ranked star drops? Or you're just bad? What if you miss a Mega Pig or don't have a club that reaches 20 star drops a month? What if you don't complete the Brawl Pass every season and miss out on the legendary star drop? What if you spend gems on a random skin offer because it looks so good and can't buy those hypercharge offers when they drop per update? Already, these things will put you way behind in terms of resources, potentially setting you back tens of thousands of coins. And then you can say bye-bye to whatever coin leftovers you might have had after maxing out 1 brawler a month to keep up with the new releases. Or maybe you don't even have enough resources to max out 1 brawler per month at all. And after not being able to afford the coins for that star power or gadget or gears, how many power points are you still going to have just sitting around because you don't have enough coins to do anything with them? Even if players don't have the resources to max out a brawler per month, upgrades in this game are incremental, so players will still be able to spend the minimum 3,740 power points and 7,765 coins, which is a power points to coins ratio of only 1 to 2. And at that point, the only resource you need to spend to keep upgrading that brawler are coins, but if they're strapped for resources in general, they might run out of coins while still having an excess of power points, which will just serve as a constant reminder of how little coins they have. Real humans playing this game over time don't just save up all their resources for the year, but you usually spend that shit as soon as you get it. Especially if you're missing one resource and have an excess of the other, you better believe that as soon as you're able to, you're buying that level upgrade, that gadget, that star power that you need, etc., which keeps the coins you have constantly low. Not only that, but even if you do have a lot of both power points and coins saved up, you have the option of either buying a star power or gadget or gears for a brawler you already want to play, versus maxing out another brawler to 11 that you don't care about as much. Which are you picking? If you pick the former, then that's another case where power points go unspent while coins does, and then at a certain point you're just stuck watching your power points go up while your coins stay low, because there's always something more to buy with coins, but power points need coins paired to them in order to be spent. And I think that excess of power points that builds up while coins stay consistently low is fundamentally what's at the root of the coins shortage sentiment. I mean, if we steelman Brawl Stars' position here, theoretically, active players can get more than one brawler maxed out a month with the rate of coins they're giving out. Gears, star powers, gadgets, and hypercharges all included. Not to mention that all these calculations we did earlier weren't even taking into account a few extra resource incomes, right? I mean, from the dev team's perspective, this isn't a shortage. They genuinely have given players ways to get a shit ton of coins. And the amount is more than enough to cover all the new content they release and then some extra. Free-to-play progression in this game is good. Players can max out their accounts at a pace that beats new brawler releases, and if you buy the Brawl Pass every month, your progression skyrockets even further beyond. Is it really a shortage if people are getting a lot of something? Well, yes, actually. Let's take a real-world example as an analogy. So semiconductor chips are used in almost everything. Computer processors, memory chips, data servers, cell phones, satellites, solar cells, medical technology, and now even cars. From 2020 to 2023, there was a crisis, which was dubbed the semiconductor chip shortage, where supply of the chips was decreased because factories were limited in their production due to the pandemic. There were US trade restrictions set on China. There was also a neon shortage due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But aside from those, there was also a big demand increase in the semiconductor chips. Because of the pandemic, people were staying at home, and remote work and school increased the demand for things like computers and iPads. There was also a surge in cryptocurrency, which increased the demand for more computers and graphics cards. Even if the semiconductors didn't have a decrease in the supply, as long as the demand drastically increases in proportion to the supply, and supply doesn't match pace to keep up with it, the outcome is functionally equivalent to if the supply drastically dropped in proportion to the demand. Either way, we have every material we need except semiconductors, making them the limiting resource. And so people call that a shortage. And in Brawl Stars' case, mid-game and end-game players are both feeling this lower coin supply compared to its demand, as players need to spend way more coins on different things compared to power points, which can only be spent on power levels. It also doesn't help that historically, people actually used to focus on buying power points from all sources, because Brawl Stars back then had a power points cap. And if you hit that cap with all your brawlers upgraded to 11, then all future power points collected would actually be converted into coins at a 1 power point to 2 coins ratio. Because of this, popular content creators like Kairos even told people to focus on spending their resources like club coins on buying more power points, worsening the excess of power points for players today when that PP cap was removed, potentially leading to tens of thousands of power points building up from years of play. Ultimately, the outflow of power points right now is just significantly less than the outflow of coins, since coins can be spent on things without needing anything else, while power points need to be paired to coins in order to be spent, making the lack of coins that much more painful. Power points build up, people see a big number in their resources but can't use it because they're lacking another resource. People see Brawl Stars adding new hyperchargers every update, which just further increases the places where coins can be spent. Players also generally have more brawlers unlocked than they can upgrade. And while that gives players more choice in which brawlers to upgrade, in the case of having too many of power points, it just makes players feel like there isn't enough of the other resource to upgrade all these brawlers they have access to. And you can see that the excess of power points might be a key driver of unhappiness from the data in my poll too. An interesting thing that happens is because the Brawl Pass Plus holders get so many more power points overall, their PP to coins ratio is actually worse than Brawl Pass buyers, even though they get more of both resources overall than regular Brawl Pass buyers. This might be why more Brawl Pass Plus buyers were unhappy about the devs' response to the coin shortage than the Brawl Pass buyers were, 57% unhappy versus 49%. Regardless of whether or not players are actually getting a lot of coins, if all of it is immediately spent and you see an excess of power points building up beside it, then it never actually feels like you have enough coins. So what's the solution?
I genuinely believe people always complained about coins in the history of Brawl Stars from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But that's not a good thing. We would like to solve this.
Yeah.
No, but
perception.
I guess what I'm saying is it's never enough.
There's two things I want you to know before we talk about this final section of the video. One is, humans are really good at wanting. Have you ever really wanted a new phone? See a bunch of reviews about it, see all the shiny new tricks it can do, and think, holy shit, this phone is like the greatest thing ever. I need this. So you save up money, or just beg your parents for it, I guess, and your phone model is 4 years old and they say, okay, fine. Hell freaking yeah. You go to the store, you literally can't wait, oh my god, so excited. You pick up the box, oh my god, it's really in your hands. You open the box, literally jumping up and down. You pick it up, oh, it's beautiful. It's clean. It's brand new. No scratches. You turn it on. Oh my god. That animation. You've seen it thousands of times before, but it just feels more satisfying right now. You transfer your data, swap your SIM, set it up. 2 hours of pure bliss. Hell yeah. Go to bed, wake up the next day and you see your new phone. Hell yeah. Show it off to all your friends, they're jealous. But after a couple days, you've kind of gotten used to it. It just doesn't have that same special feeling anymore, right? That novelty is gone. And God forbid if the same company that made your phone releases a newer model like weeks after you just upgraded, oh my god. Your shiny new phone might as well just be worthless now. The same phone that just a month ago you were literally pissing your pants to get your hands on, and now that you have it, nothing's really changed. Turns out all your problems aren't fixed by getting that new phone. You're not a fundamentally happier person in any way just because you got that new game, those new clothes, that new jewelry, the new car, latest and greatest GPU released by Nvidia. People are really good at wanting things, but not so good at staying happy once they've gotten them. The joy from purchasing a new product is extremely short-lived, but advertisers and companies sure as hell are going to take advantage of your need for wanting and try to sell you as many incremental improvements as they can each year. Be careful about falling into a consumerist trap where you repeat a cycle of buying all these things that you might not really need, thinking that this next purchase is going to change your life. It's not. Unless it's a membership to my channel, of course, because that will change your life for the better. Hell yeah, shout out to my tier 2 and 3 members, baby! While I don't know the proper term for this phenomenon, where you want something so bad until you finally get it and then you don't care anymore, for this video, let's just call it the new phone syndrome. The second thing that I want you to know is that while players are really good at figuring out when something doesn't feel good, they're really, really bad at figuring out what the solution is. In this case with Brawl Stars, players know that it doesn't feel good to have an excess of power points while not being able to spend that resource on their progression at all. And players are quick to share their distaste for it online and with the developers, but their ideas on how to fix that are usually terrible. For example, there's a common request from players to just buff the coin income by 20%. Couldn't Brawl Stars just give more coins to match the power points to coins ratio for maxing an account, just increasing the supply to meet demand? Pretty obvious, no? They could, and this might solve the issue for a lot of players. But for people who are new to the game, congrats, you just created a power points shortage, baby. Because for early game players who don't have tens of thousands of power points built up from years of playing, who aren't spending coins on hyperchargers or gears, they don't feel the same struggle of the coins shortage like endgame players do. Remember, just taking a Brawler 2 power 11 without buying gadgets, star powers, gears, or anything else, that's only a power points to coins ratio of 1 to 2. In fact, some players even feel like they aren't getting enough power points for all the coins that we're getting, and that's with the current numbers as they are now. If you buff up the coin income by like 40%, then you've just pushed the shortage issue onto all the new players, but as a power points shortage instead of coins, essentially ruining their experience of the game in order to make yours better. Keep in mind that right now, the majority of players playing this game are new players who recently picked it up in the past year.
Yeah, it's a number above 50% right now.
50% of the players
Above.
are new.
50% of players right now.
Brawl Stars needs their new player experience to be good in order to keep a steady influx of new players coming in. That's what makes a healthy game. And not to mention the obvious, but a coin income buff of 40% will tank Brawl Stars revenue by devaluing their in-game currency, since players will more or less be able to just get a really high rate of brawler maxing without spending any money. On top of that, you need to really be careful about giving players as many resources as they want for free really quickly, because if you give players too easy of an access to having a maxed account, that also means removing the excitement of progression through the new phone syndrome. We all chase a maxed account and want it so bad because in our head we anticipate how happy we'll be once we get it. But we don't realize that once we have everything and we've reached all of our progression goals in the game, we've basically just made the game objectively less exciting to play. The vast majority of the systems in this game, like incentives to log in regularly, resources when you win and lose games, they only feel exciting for players who are still upgrading stuff in their account. Just speaking from my personal experience as a player with a maxed out account who used to care a lot about progression, I personally don't even feel excited anymore when I get a legendary star drop because I know best case scenario it's just gonna be like 1,000 coins I don't even need. I play this game and collect resources in anticipation of new content they'll release, but if game development stopped here and they stopped releasing new stuff, I probably just wouldn't play as much anymore. This is why every time a player base in a game like this matures and maxes out most of their stuff, game devs will respond by adding a new power level, new town hall, new evolutions, gadgets are in the game, hypercharges, gears, new brawlers even. But for players who aren't maxed out yet, they'll just have that much more content to catch up on, and sure, developers will increase the rate of resource gain. I mean, Brawl Stars devs weren't lying when they said we're getting more coins than ever before to match the new hyperchargers being released. But the truth is that because of new phone syndrome and that need to have it all, no amount is ever really enough. Resources in games like this are built around our neurology, which is hardwired to want and want without end. Until your account is literally maxed out, it will never be enough. And then once it is maxed out, you'll stop caring. So just increasing the supply of coins is probably off the table, which is more or less what the Brawl Stars dev team hesitantly said in their podcast.
Players changing something is really important. We don't just want to give like a flat coin buff because we know we won't get any results from that.
People will probably still have the same complaints.
So if increasing the supply of coins isn't happening, then what? Are they just going to decrease the supply of PowerPoints to meet the PowerPoint demand? No, probably not. The Brawl Stars dev team already know that their ratio of coins to PowerPoints is somewhat off, but your experience with that is fundamentally different depending on if you're an early game or an end game player. The coin shortage is more of an end game long-term player problem. But newer players need more PowerPoints to upgrade their big influx of rare, super rare, and epic brawlers early on, and the majority of players playing this game right now are new. So if they nerf PowerPoints in any way, it would again ruin the player economy for the majority of people, the new players, and the Brawl Stars devs know this. Instead, here's a clip from their podcast episode which some people have been interpreting as the direction they might take with the economy instead.
What's coming after hypercharges? Is it Power 12? Do I think it will be Power 12? No, probably not. We have some other ideas, and we're looking at this like these other ideas that would probably add some sort of deepening of gameplay. So can we add deeper gameplay while addressing the PowerPoint surplus on high end for high end players? So we're trying to figure out like if we can solve both things at the same time, have cool new gameplay and fix the PowerPoint situation.
So what does this mean? Well, potentially, this might mean that the Brawl Stars dev team is more inclined towards this third option as a solution to the problem, which is to increase the demand for PowerPoints to meet their supply for endgame players, maybe by adding in a mechanic that deepens gameplay. In other words, add some kind of potential PowerPoint sync that adds a new mechanic to brawlers, while also serving as another reinforcer for player engagement for people who care about progression, 2 birds with 1 stone. This way, rather than having an imbalance of currencies, players who have an excess of PowerPoints would then be able to spend them, and then that way they would have both no PowerPoints and no coins, solving the issue of not having enough coins to match their PowerPoints and removing the impression of a lack of coins. Now, I'm a little hesitant to say that this is definitely the way they're going to go with things. The tricky part of game development is that nothing is set in stone, and really cool ideas once implemented might turn out to be terrible or incompatible for one reason or another later down the line. Players need to be really careful about taking things that developers say they're working on or are considering as promises, because otherwise you just build up anticipation and excitement for a feature that might never see the light of day, and then you'll only just disappoint yourself when it doesn't get implemented. That being said though, if they're not going to add a PowerPoints to coin conversion, then having at least a PowerPoint sync I think is a really good idea. And they don't even need to go that far by adding in a whole new game mechanic. I mean, there's already precedent for a resource sync like this in the game right now, and that's with true gold and true silver skins. Back in the day, there was a period of time where players felt like they had too many coins, and that was when Brawl Stars decided to add in these true silver and true gold skins as a kind of a coin sync to get players to shut up about it. They could opt to do that, but for PowerPoints this time, introducing like small PP and big PP skins, and I honestly think that might alone solve the player dissatisfaction with the PP issue. The only reason they might be against this is that maybe true gold and true silver skins weren't as successful as hyperchargers in serving as like a player engagement tool or something, but since I'm not a developer, I'm not really sure. The thing is though, I feel like true gold and true silver skins mainly suck right now because their visual attacks don't have any silver and gold effects. If they just change this, I think more people would buy and use these skins, just saying. But generally, I am hopeful that the Brawl Stars dev team will fix their economy balance issues eventually. They're not always perfect, but they genuinely are a fantastic dev team that has this game's best interests in their minds at all times. Their decisions with Frank as the lead have taken them from a mediocre game numbers-wise to literally carrying Supercell's revenue, beating out industry giants like Clash of Clans and Clash Royale years after Brawl Stars' initial launch. Now, if you heard this and thought, yeah okay, corporate shill, glazer, Greedy Cell is 100% just going to do whatever they can to screw over their players and ruin the game for everyone, just like what Clash Royale did. Okay, first of all, I don't even have a code, okay? Save those comments for when I actually start getting paid by Supercell directly. Dan here, Frank, please, I'm begging you, I'll literally suck the skin off your dick for a code, please. Second of all, I mean, honestly, I get it. Some of their decisions I just don't agree with, particularly making these stat differences between levels wider. Can't think of any justification for this other than to motivate people to spend more money. Some decisions like reintroducing star drops and randomness is like, it's like whatever. It's morally wrong, but if it 10x's the player base, I really can't say anything, right? That's as much on the player base for eating up the gambling slop. But if the dev teams make a bad decision, I'm not here to just glaze Brawl Stars no matter what. I don't have to make Brawl Stars videos. If I ever get bored of the game, I'll just quit and do something else. That being said though, just because your resources aren't perfectly balanced in a mobile game, that doesn't mean you get to be a whiny, unpleasant brat, trashing on the developers and being a miserable, hate-filled monster. Like, players will literally glaze the game one day and then call the developers Greedy Cell the next at the drop of a dime, all while enjoying a free-to-play game that runs on the backs of people who spend money, while these players refuse to pay even a single cent themselves. the Brawl Stars dev team are some of the most transparent developers in the world. Like, I'm not aware of any other dev team that runs a regular podcast answering community questions. I'm not aware of any other dev team that tried to remove gambling from their microtransaction game with the removal of mega boxes, even though giving players more agency and control over the progression killed player retention, so they had to revert it. I hate players so much. In a perfect world, people will learn that being whiny and bitchy is a great way to get people to stop listening to you and stop responding to your requests, but I get it, a lot of people who play this game are young and they just aren't old enough to be respectful or kind. But even despite this, among the people who said they were unhappy about the dev team's response to the coin shortage, the majority of players still said that they're optimistic about the game's future, with 30% of players saying they were unsure and only 13% of respondents saying they were definitely not optimistic. Overall, if I could just make a plea to you as a viewer watching this video, is to please just be a good person. You don't have to have hope in the Brawl Stars dev team or even believe this game is going to be alive in a few years. Hell, I don't even know what my life is going to look like in a few years. But like I said in my bad randoms video, and like I'll say now at the end of this long ass video, even if people are shitty to you, or everything in your life changes tomorrow, or if you don't have enough gold compared to PowerPoints in a mobile game, if there's one thing in your life that's fully within your control to make a consistent thing no matter what, it's your behavior, especially in how you treat other people. Treat others with love, be kind to strangers. It might not mean much to you, but you'll receive from the world the energy you put out. I truly do believe that. But anyways, that's gonna be it from me. Hope you learned something and enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to share this video with a friend who you think could learn something about their coin spending habits. I think that's what this video was about at some point. I don't really remember, huh? I'm actually thinking about trying a free-to-play series of my own soon to test out some strats of coin saving and upgrading that I didn't have time to mention in this video. Plus, with that series, I can give you guys a general idea on how you can optimize your accounts yourselves to get that juicy PP to coin ratio, so if you want to see that, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Big shoutouts to my Discord. If you want to talk to me, you can find me on there. I'm pretty active in that server and always try to respond to pings and DMs that I get. Huge shoutouts to my mods and Toshi for helping to keep that place clean. Big thank you to my tier 2 and 3 members. You help make videos like these possible. And finally, if you made it this far into the video, I just want you to know that I love the way your socks look today. They are looking absolutely silly, absolutely splendid. They match the rest of your outfit great. If you're not wearing socks, then your bare stinky feet and toes look pretty cute too. That's it from me, guys. Take care, y'all. I love you. Until next time. Bye. Wow, that was a good one. Tasteful, flavorful. Maybe like an 8. Wow, that was a 9.